Start this afternoon with our second and third place finishers, Sergio Perez and Sebastian Vettel. Many congratulations, guys. Great race. Checo, if we could start with you. The 9th podium of your career and your first since Baku in 2018. Just how much pleasure did this one give you?
A lot, especially coming from the last race where we really missed it on a strategy. I think also for the team, they deserve this one. We've been so close in Austria, race 2, in Imola. Now it's a great result for the team, and we still were so close to lose it all with the Ferraris coming back at us very strong. Holding on to those tires was a big challenge, and yeah, I think it was just about time to end the race for us, and a great result, a lot of points for the team, and yeah, I'm pleased with that.
And Checo, your teammates stopped for a new set of intermediate tyres. Were you tempted to do the same?
Yeah, well, I think at the time, especially when everyone was stopping, would have made sense. Early on, I got the feedback that he grained straight away. My teammate grained the tires straight away, so the team decided to keep me out a bit longer, and then we, as the race panned out, we basically carry on with that set till the end.
Checo, many congratulations. Sebastian, coming to you. What a tremendous race for you this afternoon. Exciting right to the end. But can we go back to the beginning first of all, and can you tell us about that start from, I think, 11th to 3rd at one point?
Yeah, yeah, it was a good start. I think I just, obviously anticipated it to be very, very slippery off the line. Made up a few places already there, and then, yeah, it wasn't one of the ones that tried everything into turn 1. And obviously there was a Renault that spun, which I think it was Daniel, I'm not sure. And was it Esteban? All right, there was a Renault that spun, and yeah, I think everybody who was in that group obviously was dragged to the outside, and I could just snatch the inside line and make up a lot of ground. Then I think it was good to have clear track ahead and benefit from that at the beginning of the race. When we then pitted for Inters, I think it took a little bit too long for us to get into the groove. I lost a couple of positions, which then later on I was catching up the field again. Yeah, I had a good battle at that stage also with Lewis for a couple of laps, and we pitted again. The tires then grained very quickly, and I think in that part of the race maybe I was too conservative. Otherwise it could have been even better and maybe less exciting at the end, but better in terms of positioning. But yeah, nevertheless happy. Obviously, I was able to close the gap towards the end. Sergio was right on the limit. I don't think he had anything, not even another lap left in his tires. So it was really close. Also across the line, I was hoping for traction, but benefit on traction. But he just saved it over the line. Obviously, Charles had a mistake, and then yeah, it was all very close for the three of us. So. It was a fun afternoon.
After a difficult day yesterday, well, for both Ferrari drivers, how surprised were you by the pace of the car today?
Well, yesterday we struggled mostly on the extreme wets. I think today was a little bit better, but still on the extreme wets was probably a weakness. On the Inters we were a little bit better. As I said, maybe I could have done a bit better by being more aggressive on that tire, especially in the mid part of the race. But yeah, I was also very keen towards the end to put dry tires. Obviously, nobody dared to do it. So, given that we were, in a good position looking for good points, I can see that, we wanted to hang on to this. Plus, on the other hand, we had rain forecasted for the last lap. So, yeah. Otherwise, I think I don't know. I'm still thinking back and thinking. Maybe we should have dared to put dry tires because the track at one point was sort of dry and still damp in other places, but it was stable. And the tires that we had on, the intermediates, Sergio's tires, our tires, I think they were all pretty worn down to nothing, even Lewis's tires. So pretty much like a slick. And in that case, a slick would be faster. But would, could, should. We didn't dare to do it. We got a podium, so not much. I think we could have got out more of that race.
Seb, your first podium of a year, a difficult year for you at Ferrari. Just how good does it feel to be back at the sharp end?
Well, it has been a difficult year. I think qualifying has been the Achilles heel this year, and the race is obviously then largely defined by being stuck in the pack. You know, I think it's been a while that I've been racing in the midfield. It's very, very close, and you know, even though you have a better pace, sometimes you can't really show. So it's tough, but you know, I think we look forward to the last couple of races, and hopefully for improvements this weekend. The conditions, I think, made the biggest difference. First of all, the slippery track. Second, the wet conditions. But yeah, I'm looking forward to try and, you know, squeeze out anything that there is to squeeze in the last races to finish as high up as possible for myself and also for the team.
Thank you. We'll go to the video conference now, and we'll kick off with Alex Kalinauckas, please.
Thank you, Tom. It's a question to Sebastian, please. Seb, regarding the difference in pace between Saturday and Sunday, you mentioned the extreme wets being a particular problem yesterday. Was it, because you were quite strong at the very beginning of the race, was it a case of, because you could just do lap after lap after lap and build that crucial tyre temperature, whereas qualifying was a stop-start and that's where you'd lose it? Thanks.
Well, obviously we were not allowed to change anything from yesterday. Yeah, I think indeed the fact that there was also less water than yesterday. I mean, the lap times were significantly faster. We started off in 158s, 56s, and finished off around 150s. Whereas yesterday we qualified, you know, quite a bit slower with more. I mean, we had a lot more water on the track, so obviously the tires cooled down more, yeah, I think that probably made the biggest difference. Yeah, I think we probably collected some good data that helps in case there is extreme wet conditions again. So still, you know, if you look at Sergio and Lance in the beginning in particular, they were flying compared to us and opening a gap quickly to 10 seconds. So there's still something to learn on the extremes.
Thank you. Next up, Scott Mitchell, please, from The Race.
Thank you. Yeah, question to Sergio and Seb, please. But because for both of you, obviously, this result represents something quite significant in your respective seasons. I think you're the 11th and 12th drivers to score a podium in what's been quite a varied campaign. But for Checo, for you, it nudges you ever closer to what's almost certainly going to be your best ever season in Formula One. So just wondering, how high a level do you think you're performing at the moment? Is it the best in your F1 career? And Seb, do you think that this podium shows that even after a difficult season, you're still capable of being the quality of driver that won 4 world titles in so many races?
Well, I think from my side, it's been a good season, but also in Formula One, it's so much related to your car potential. And I think I've had very good seasons in the past that were not seen as a good year because of the car potential. You know, I was finishing 7th in the championship, a couple of times 8th, but I'm still doing a good job, a tremendous job. I think right now I'm in a very good level in my career. I think probably at my peak in terms of experience, understanding, communication-wise with the team as well. You know, I've been a while with the team, so that also helps. And yeah, I think the season has been a bit up and down due to a lot of things, circumstances, some on track, some off track, but still we're getting our season on track, and I'm sure this podium will help us to finish the last 3 races on a high.
Well, I'm a bit shocked by the way you phrased your question there. I don't think, well, F1 is a very fast-living world. We drive the fastest cars, so you always get judged by your last race. You know, I've said that we had a difficult season. There's been moments where certainly I haven't been at the top of my game, but I don't doubt that I can, you know, do a good job in the car, and don't feel that anything has changed. So, a bit surprised, but thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Chandor Mesaros next, please.
Thank you, Tom. Congratulations, guys, on the podium. And my question is for Seb. Can you please summarize how was the work over this weekend under the guidance of Laurent McKees?
Well, I think, you know, the team is obviously well aware of all the emotions it needs to go through. Yeah, I think it's quite bad. I think we scored probably the most points this year for us. and Mattia wasn't here. But yeah, if next race we don't score as many points, maybe we try again to leave him at home. But no, I don't think it's related to that. I don't believe in this kind of stuff. But you know, I've worked with Laurent already 12 and 13 years ago, and I think he has come a long way. I've come a long way, and yeah, I think he does take care of us with Mattia here not being here, and you know, I think he's a capable guy, and as I said, it's not only down to him or down to Mattia, it's in the end of it, it's a team effort. I think Sergio can tell the same thing. There's so many people, so many different links that have to come together to you know, have a good weekend, and obviously this weekend we benefit from the conditions, probably the surface and also the wet conditions. But yeah, we hope to have good races also the next 3.
Thank you. Christian Manat, please. You're next.
Thanks, Tom. First of all, congratulations to both of you. Question is for Checo. Can you talk us through that laps? You were pretty close behind your teammate because it was a strange situation. You both were fighting for the victory at that point. You were leaving the team. Your teammate is staying. Did you push him into that pit stop because you were faster at that point? And how were the conversations with the pit at that time? Thank you.
Yeah, well, at that point, it was all about surviving on those inters. We were a bit stuck. We were expecting some more rain towards the end of the race. And at the same time, we were suffering quite a bit with the inters. I think we were going through the graining phase, and I was able to control it after that. When he pitted, I was also of the idea of trying another set, you know, because my set was pretty worn out. But then the team informed me that he grained straight away, and the pace was not coming. So we decided to stay out. But yeah, in hindsight, probably given how much we suffer in the final laps, we probably could have pitted for another set.
Thanks, Checo. This question's come in via email. John McAvoy from the Daily Mail. It's to you, Seb. He says, the BBC have reported that by his car, you told Lewis, you're the greatest F1 driver ever. Is this right? Or what did you say? And do you believe Lewis is now the greatest of all time?
Well, I told him that, you know, it's very special for us because we can witness history being made today. I think he is the greatest of our era for sure. I think it's always difficult to compare, you know, how can you possibly compare Fangio, Sterling Moss to our generation? You can't. Maybe we would be useless because we would be all shitting ourselves in those cars. Maybe they would be useless in our cars because they're way too fast. Who knows, you know, but it doesn't matter. I think every era has its driver or its drivers, and Lewis is certainly the biggest of the greatest of our era. To me, certainly emotionally, Michael will always be the greatest driver, but there's no doubt that Lewis is the greatest in terms of what he has achieved. You know, he's equal to the championships. He's more races won. He's a lot more he has a lot more pole positions. So I think he's done everything you can ask for. I think today is the best proof. It's a difficult race, a very difficult race to stay on track, and 2 hours long. And probably, if we're honest, it wasn't his race to win, and he still won it. So I think, you know, once again, he managed to pull out something special out of that bag, and therefore I think he deserves everything he has achieved.
Thank you. Christian Nimmervoll, please, from motorsport.com.
Thank you, Tom. Question to Seb. First of all, congratulations to both of you. Seb, on Charles' team radio, when he went across the start and finish line, we could hear, I did a shit job, I think 5 times in a row. Just how important for the sort of dynamics between you two was this last corner?
Well, probably irrelevant, to be honest. I think you know, Turkey is a special place for me because it's sort of where everything started. It's probably not where everything ends, but still, I think, you know, looking back to many, many years ago, and I think having Charles as a teammate, I often see myself in him as well. And he's a lot younger, he's very quick, and I think the fact that I haven't had the chance to talk to him yet, but we'll tell him later that being on the podium today or not actually is a bit irrelevant for him, because he has so many years ahead of himself and so many podiums to come, which I'm sure of. So it's right that he is angry. He did a mistake and lost the podium that way. But as I said, in the big picture, probably irrelevant for him. But I think I'm mature enough. I never let this kind of stuff really heat up and get between us. I'm happy for anything that he achieves and will achieve in the future, because he's a good kid. But yeah, obviously, it was a very tough race, and I think all of us, we were very close to lose it completely at various stages in the race. So obviously it's extra painful when it happens in the last lap.
Thank you. We've got time for one more question for these guys, and we're going to give it to Dieter Renken from Racing Lines, please.
Thank you, Tom. Question 4 for Checo, please. Checo, obviously, when you got cars 1 and 3 on the grid, as you were yesterday or coming up for today, there's always talk of team orders of some type. Was there talk of team orders in your instance? Did they favour you? Did they favour the other driver? What was the discussion?
No, well, it's basically about we are in a very tight fight to get the third in the constructors, and that's really what matters to us. So it was all about getting both cars as high as possible, and I think the lead car at the time was Lance, and at that time we thought the best was to stop, and it didn't work out for him, but in the end we managed to score good points. We outscored our competition, and still three very important races for us in the championship.
Checo, thank you very much, and to Seb as well. Many congratulations today.
Thank you.
And for people, well, Lewis, a wonderful race today, a wonderful season in 2020. The floor is yours. What would you like to say? How do you sum it all up?
Honestly, I think, my dad used to always tell me to do my talking on the track, so I don't really have a huge amount to say. I just hopefully that performance hopefully shows what I'm capable of, and ultimately capable of what we could all do together, I think. And in a sense of like young kids out there, I think it's important for them to see, I dreamt this when I was 5 years old, to be here in Formula One, and it's so important to hold on to your dreams, to dream big. I think for all of us, it doesn't matter how old you are, and it's taken a long time to get here, but I'm forever grateful to the guys that have helped me, my team, for believing me, for Ron, for taking me on when I was a kid, for Mercedes, who continued to support me all the way from 13 years old till today, and particularly to my family, so grateful to them. I think this, I hope they're celebrating.
You clinched the title today with a fabulous victory. Would you say this was one of your finest wins?
Well, I've been racing a long time, so it's difficult to compare. I would say that, generally every race feels like it's the first. It feels in the sense that it's just unique, and I don't compare any race to any other race, I think, because I'm always in a different place in life, and so I like to say they're all unique in their own way. I think for sure this one felt like a very, very complete day on track under the toughest circumstances with this track. It's on the new surface that we have here. You see people that are professional drivers and incredible drivers. You saw them losing control today. That's just how slippery and difficult the conditions were, and so this was a big test for me, because in the rain, what I normally do in the rain, but this is different in the sense that it's ice. And I don't remember having an ice race before, so I feel like I achieved something different today, and for sure I know that not everyone expected that. I definitely didn't expect it, but of course I was hopeful that I was going to move forwards. Got a good start, had lost position on, I think it was the first lap with those new tires. But the more I race, the more I feel like I'm getting better. I think I'm understanding myself more. I know what I want from the car. I know what buttons to push. During the race, I'm constantly tweaking my driving style in order to find the right. It's like trying to find the right numbers to put together to be able to get you through the corners in the way that is faster than everyone else. And that mathematics or the algorithm never seems to stop. It's always a challenge. It's from lap to lap, and I think today I really kind of was mastering it at least from halfway in the race.
Let's open this to the video conference. Rebecca Clancy, we'll start with you from the Times, please.
Thanks, Tom. Lewis, many congratulations on this remarkable achievement.
Thank you.
You've mentioned there about your family, and I know you're very close to your dad and your family. Have you had a chance to speak to them yet? And if you have, what have you said to them, or what they said to you?
I haven't had a chance to speak to anybody, unfortunately. I literally just got my phone as it changed, and there's a lot of messages there that I haven't even opened yet. So, my family's all been supportive. I think before the race, my mum messaged me, but I didn't get to open it because I was rushing to get in the car. But I know I have so much support, particularly from my family. Even if we don't talk, but I hope that they are feeling fulfilled, because, like I always say, my parents sacrificed so much for me to be here, and I never take that for granted. And what the things that we faced, the challenges that we faced, and the dream that we had, and the people, the obstacles, and like people saying that we wouldn't be where we are today, I think hopefully we've earned the right. Hopefully we've earned the respect. Hopefully I've earned the respect today. And there's more to do. This is not, obviously this is a world championship, and it's the pinnacle of my life so far. But there's a much bigger win that we all collectively need to work together towards, and that's pushing for equality. That's pushing for equal opportunity for all these kids that are out there, so we can create a better future. But that's going to take us all doing it together.
Thank you. We'll go to Scott Mitchell next, please.
Thank you. Congratulations, Lewis. The manner of the way you sealed the title today was obviously incredibly impressive. One of your best wins ever, certainly one of your best wins with Mercedes. At what point today did it feel like it was coming towards you, and how satisfying is it to have won the title with that kind of crushing performance?
Sorry, just you saying win the title, it just doesn't sunk in yet exactly. I think in the race, obviously I got a really good start, and then I lost position, avoided getting penalty at going around the bollard, and then struggled behind everybody. And I know everyone was struggling, but I was struggling behind that group of cars that are ahead of me. Then, we saw people even like Max, who was great in the wet, spin and lose control and had to do extra stops. And I was behind Seb, and for a moment I was thinking I might get past him, and then me and him were having this battle, and it was so frustrating not to be able to get past him. But but also I was thinking, you know what, Seb has had the toughest year, I would say, probably arguably perhaps in his career, and I just thought that he was driving so well. So at the same time, I was like, he's doing so good, but damn it, he's in the way. And the guys up ahead are pulling away. And then he started pulling away from me. And I think at that point, I could definitely see the win kind of seeping away. I looked at my dash, and I think I was on like lap 30 or something like that. And then I was like, there's a long way to go, and anything can happen. So just keep your head down, keep going, keep pushing. And as I started, all of a sudden, as I said, I found a few things that improved. the handling of the car, and I started getting around at much quicker laps, and I started closing in on Seb, and then he pitted, and I knew for me, there's no way you guys are pulling me in. These tires aren't done, and the track is in this progressive state. It's not going to dry up fully by the time we're at the end of the race. So I knew all these things from all these experiences I've had, and so I was able to use history, use the past experiences to deliver those laps that I was doing afterwards. And as soon as I could see the Force Indias ahead, I knew that it's game time. Like, you just got to keep your head, keep it cool, and don't make mistakes.
Thank you. We'll go to Andrew Benson, please, from the BBC.
Everybody, congratulations, Lewis, on a great drive and a great achievement. You've made lots of powerful statements against racism this year, but you becoming the most successful racing driver ever is possibly the most powerful of all. What does that mean to you, and what message do you think that sends out to the world?
Well, it's obviously no secret that, you know, I've really walked this sport alone as any black person here or the only person of color here, and it's a really interesting point, you know, that the fact is that as I'm biracial, whilst it's the term of the black driver here, you know, I'm biracial, and I think this colorism that people should perhaps read about, but I think that hopefully shows, you know, when I was younger, I didn't have anybody in the sport that looked like me, and so, you know, it was easy to think that that's not possible to get there because nobody of your color has ever been there. You don't see anybody on TV that's any black people on TV that are in Formula One. So, but I think hopefully this sets. Hopefully this sends a message to the kids that are watching. Hopefully they've seen that performance today, and hopefully they can see that it doesn't matter where you come from. I think whatever your background, I think it's so important to dream big. And if you are looking at places, industries that you don't see someone of the same background as you, or the same ethnicity as you, or with the same religion, create your own path. Because that's what we did. That's what I've been able to do, and it's been so tough. Tough doesn't even describe how hard it's been. But I hope that sends that message. That's the most important message for kids: is to dream as big as possible and not give up. You know.
Thank you. We'll go next to Ben Hunt, please, from The Sun.
Congratulations, Lewis. I've got a couple of questions, actually. First thing I'd like to do is just take you back to when you finished the race. You seemed to have an emotional moment. I wondered if you could explain what was going through your head at that time. Secondly, just with regards to this season as a whole, it's been very challenging for everyone.
Don't give me too many questions at once. I'm struggling to take the one in.
Okay, let's do the first.
Yeah. You know, I very rarely do I ever like lose control of my emotions, and I think those last few laps, I remember those last few laps, and obviously we're having that discussion whether we're going to pit, and I was just telling myself, keep it together, Lewis, you got this, you know. And I could feel it getting closer, and also knowing that if I finish where I'm finishing right now, that I've got this championship. And so all these emotions were running through me, and I was trying to stop it because I was thinking about my whole career, you know, from when I was 5 when I drove in the go-kart, from when we won our first British championship, driving home with my dad singing we are the champions, and dreaming of being here, and it's right there, you know, minutes away. And that was a lot to take in, and when I came across the line, I think it really hit me, and I just burst into tears, I think, that whole in lap, and then I really couldn't get out of the car because I just couldn't believe couldn't believe it. And I just, I think for me, I've been very strong, but I couldn't have done it without, the great man behind me, my dad, who on the days that I didn't think that I was good enough or I wasn't going to do well enough, he stood me up and kept me going. So I was thinking of him, I was thinking of my mom, I was thinking of my stepmom Linda, my brother, who have all stood by me through this through thick and thin. So, yeah. And I didn't want the visor to come up and people to see tears flowing and all that stuff, because I'd always said that I would never let never let you see me cry, because I remember watching other drivers in the past crying, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. But it was too much.
Thank you. And Ben, your second question.
Well, I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm happy to pass that over if you want to.
No, go for it, mate.
Lewis, just wondered, obviously you touched on it there about staying at the team. Now's the time, I guess, to start talking about those negotiations about getting that new deal done, I guess.
Yeah, definitely is something that we do need to get onto. And, I just always think that it's, through the year, I've just been like, look, I've got the job to do. I've got a contract in place. I don't feel like I should add pressure. I think it has to be organic and not something that's forced. And so yeah, I was like, no, let's just put it to. And I bet on myself. Naturally, there's days you think, what happens if you start making mistakes? What happens if you get worse all of a sudden? You don't put in these great performances. Does your value decrease? Does your bargaining power decrease? Does your reputation go off a cliff? And I know there's scenarios, I think, in life where you're like, let's sign up real quick so you kind of guarantee your future. And for me, I bet on myself. I do the work. I know myself better than anyone, and I know what I can do, and I know how to do it. And better than ever. And so, I wanted to put it aside and wait till the job is done. So probably over these next weeks, we got 3 weeks in the Middle East. So, now it's a bit more chill, but I still have 3 races ahead of me that I want to win. It's not done. So, but we will get it done, I'm sure.
Thank you. Phil Duncan next, please. Phil, we can't hear you.
Phil's always having technical problems.
That's it. Stop.
What about now?
Now's good. Now's good.
Brilliant. Cool. Congratulations, obviously, for brilliant achievement.
Thank you.
Back in the UK, there's a growing feeling that you should now be knighted for what you're doing both on and off the track. We've seen Andy Murray, Mo Farah, Bradley Wiggins, others knighted in recent times. So I guess what it means to you to receive such an accolade, and obviously earlier you spoke about only just getting started. We see Lewis Hamilton racing Formula One in his 40s.
Well, to your point, I don't think I'll be here in my 40s, but I am. Still, I'm only 35. I feel young and fresh, and I think I know. Every year we talk about this, and I naturally get the questions, and I don't really have anything different to say compared to before. I think when I think about that honor, I think about people like my granddad who've served in the war. I think about Sir Captain Tom, who got knighted and waited 100 years for that incredible honor and the great money. The people that are running these hospitals, these nurses and doctors who are saving lives during the hardest time ever. I think about those unsung heroes, and I don't look at myself as an unsung hero. I've not saved anybody. It is an incredible honor that many people, or a small group of people, have had bestowed upon them, and what I can say is that I just standing today here in the national anthem, I'm very, very, very proud. I am a very proud Brit. And that, as I said before, it really is like the most special moment to be out to be up there representing a nation, you know, like, having the flag over your head, over number one, and that is such an incredible honor, and that's really all I have to say about it. It's not something that I think about. It's not something that, you know, I've got a lot of work to do. There's more work to do here in this sport. As I said, I think this year we've had this awakening, and I think people hopefully are starting to be held accountable and holding themselves accountable and realizing that that's actually not a really bad thing. And it just means that we've got to work harder. We've got to open our not be so stubborn, open our minds up and educate ourselves a bit better so we can push for a more equal world. And I'm not going to stop fighting for that. And in my part-time, maybe I'll keep racing for a little while.
Thank you. We'll go next to Christian Manat, please.
Thanks, Tom. First of all, many congratulations, Lewis.
Thank you.
Incredible achievement. To follow up on what Scott asked earlier, the manner you achieved this today with the win, and I think Sepp put it pretty nice. He said it wasn't your race to win today. You're the most successful driver in Formula One history, but there are still a lot of critics out there and always say you're just winning because you have the best car. Today you showed that's not the case. How important is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I want more of these weekends. More tricky, you know, there's more tricky conditions like this. You know, the more opportunities like this, the more I'm able to show what I'm able to do. And I think today, hopefully you can see, you know, I think I deserve my respect. And I think I have that with my peers. I think they can see how hard they will know how hard today is, particularly, and know that it is not a car thing. However, I couldn't have done this without that amazing group of people behind me. But there is another great driver who's alongside me who has the same car, who obviously I didn't finish where I finished. So I do notice there were these interesting comments from past drivers, particularly. I really, really promise you that and hope that I stand by my word. Like when I stop in 10, 20 years from now, when I look back, I want to be embracing and encouraging the next youngsters that are here, whether it's Lando, whether it's George, whoever it may be, whether it's Max, you know, like I know how hard it is to be here. I know how hard it is to do the job. I know how this world works. Of course you have to have a good team. Of course you have to have a great car. There's no driver that's ever really won the championship in the past without it. It goes back the same all the way down to karting. You know, you've got to have the right equipment. I remember my first championship. I raced, and the kid that won was on rocket engines, which Jensen Button's dad had tuned. Those engines were real rockets. Like compared to the cheap, crappy engine that I had, that was, you know, fifth hand. There was no way I could keep up with these kids. And I remember that one weekend he was moving on to Kim Bolton in, was it 1992, 1983? And he was moving on to the next class. So he was selling on these engines. And I remember my dad had to remortgage the house to get this 2,000-pound engine. But what we did that day was that me and this kid who had been winning everything, we put his other engine that I was going to buy, that we're looking to buy, in my cart, and I was ahead of him all the time on track. You know, so of course you've got to have the equipment. Of course you've got to have it, and that's something that will always be in this sport. But then I think it's also what you do with it that really also counts, and hopefully you can see that today.
Thank you. We've got time for one more, and we're going to give it to Alex Kalinauckas, please.
Thank you, Tom. Congratulations, Lewis, on winning the championship. I just wanted to go back to something you said earlier about being in the race when you were on the Inters and you found things that helped improve the handling. I'm sure that might be a closely guarded secret, but could you just explain a little bit what that meant? And also, you've referenced in the past learning from losing the 2007 title in the pit lane in similar conditions today as the tyres were wearing down. So how did you avoid that today, and how did the lessons of the past help you as well? Thanks.
I think what I'm learning as I get older is to most often my gut feeling is right, and most often, like intuition, the first thought that I have is usually the right one, choice-wise, you know. And so I'm learning not to question myself. So you saw today, you know, back in 2007. You know, I was a rookie. I mean, I was massively skilled, but didn't have the knowledge, didn't have the experience to be able to lead the team, to tell them what was needed. If I knew what I knew now, I'd say, guys, I have to come in, I'm coming in. You know, I didn't know at the time that I could tell my team that was the case. You know, I was still learning what I could and could not do. And there was a lot of still, amongst the success, there was still doubt there every now and then, and that's not evident today in the Lewis that you see today. And I think, as you saw, I was pretty certain I could get to the end with, I think it was like 18 laps already to the end. I was thinking, I'm going to try and take this all the way. But I started getting vibrations in my tires, so I was constantly looking at these tires and hoping that looking out for that bald tire that I had in 2007, but I couldn't see again in my mirrors, just like 2007. I couldn't see the tread, whether or not it had gone through to that level. So that's why I was asking the team, and so I was having to save the tires through the high speed, try not to kill them. But keeping temperature up was really key. So that's brake balance. That's you know, that's how you use them on the exit of the corners. It's the lines that you have to navigate to take. There was a lot of wet patches still out there, and as soon as you touch that, you're off. So the key today was really just keeping my wits about me. As I said, learning as I went, and I was just chipping away, getting faster and faster, and more confident as I went on.
We'll call it a day there. Thank you, Lewis.
Thanks.
Many congratulations.
Thank you.